The relative difference between gold and silver premiums is a key factor for a lot of people when deciding which of these metals to stick their hard-earned cash in to invest. For me, this last 9 months, in fact, since the beginning of the pandemic, quite frankly, silver premiums have been absurdly high and certainly not as attractive as gold. Everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to you all joining me for this week's Precious Metal Ramble. Now, I want to talk today about the comparative premiums between gold and silver and why gold really is the thing that has made the big difference over this last, 18 months or so, 12 months since all of the lockdown that happened and the massive drop in silver prices. Gold held pretty steady. Silver then came back up, but the premiums on this stuff went sky high. The premiums on gold, however, stayed pretty low and pretty much throughout this entire pandemic and then the follow-up of the silver squeeze movement. The ability to buy gold at a pretty low premium price has really not been affected at all. New gold coins, 4 or 5% over spot price. Second-hand gold, 2% over spot. I've even bought less than spot price gold, and I've bought some, in fact, less than spot price gold this week here in the form of this sovereign. But we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. So I do want to sort of put my little disclaimer in here that this is really not a financial advice video. I'm not an investment guru. I'm really just a guy on YouTube who likes to talk about shiny things. And this is my observation and opinion over the last 18 months or so. But I do want to focus first on the premiums attached to this stuff, because 2021 has really been the year of the premium on silver. It has been born out of, to a certain extent anyway, the silver squeeze movement, which started basically in the basement of some person's house where they thought it would be a good idea to squeeze a global commodity with a massive market cap, and of course it really hasn't worked. Now, there have been some supply chain issues over the last couple of months where, 9 months, 10 months, since basically the pandemic really, where basically it's been pretty hard for mints and suppliers to get silver. Mines have been affected, and as such the supply of silver on the market in terms of readily available silver silver blanks for dyes has been lower, and of course other manufacturers of blank dyes have realised that if they stamp some random design on them themselves, they can sell their silver for 3 or 4 times the profit margin that they would than selling them blank to the mint or other places. So it has been a pretty much a tumultuous year for silver, but certainly gold has been very much unaffected by the huge kind of premium spikes that we've seen. Now, gold prices rose quite considerably earlier in the year to a £1,500 an ounce, nearly $1,900 an ounce high, but then have kind of settled back down a little bit. They've been up and down over the last few months, but those premiums, the premiums is what matters to me anyway, as a stacker and as a collector. They have been very much unaffected throughout this whole situation. And that's a really important comparison to make with silver, because silver, whilst a rare metal, really is not rare. In many ways, it should be that silver has a lower premium than gold, but it doesn't. So why do we still have these big premiums on silver? Well, to a certain extent, it is about the supply and demand issues that are out there. I'm not going to disagree that there is more demand for silver in terms of the investment side of things. We're definitely seeing a pickup in new people who are looking to invest in silver, looking to buy physical silver. But at the same time, that forms a very, very small proportion of the entire silver market. There are other uses for silver that are much more volumetric, if that's the word. They take up way more of the silver's market share than us humble silver and gold stackers. So the demand for silver is high and the supply has been affected, so premiums will be there for a little bit. But we've been in this situation now for nearly 18 months when the lockdowns hit and all of the business interruptions affected us. And things are starting to get easy. Let me tell you, as a humble silver pourer, somebody who literally will buy 10 kilos of silver casting grain per month, there has been absolutely no discernible effect on the supply of this silver. I've never had any of the dealers which I've been using over the last year and a half say to me, yeah, that's not possible at the moment. We just can't, for love nor money, get hold of silver. there's been a little bit of a price increase, but actually compared with where we were pre-pandemic, the premiums now are exactly the same as they were for me anyway. So buying silver is not really very difficult at all, and at a low premium. Where the premiums come in is where you get people who are very keen to make more money as dealers. And I saw a great video a couple of days ago from Salivate Metal, who was talking about how there really is still a potential shortage on the market. And this sort of rhetoric out there of there being a shortage of silver is very much in this temporary. Silver is a rare metal, but it is not an exceptionally rare metal. It is not rare in the sense that there's hardly any of it out there. It's just rarer than other metals. So it is interesting to see that there is this kind of still this rhetoric out there that there really is not very much of this stuff at all. But when we're talking on the global scale, there really is quite a lot of silver out there available. And I've never seen in the last sort of 9 months, since dealers have worked out that there are lots of people who are going to jump on a bandwagon and come on a particular day to do a silver raid, there is no shortage of silver in these big dealers. You do not see Atmex now with zero stock, SD Bullion, all of the big ones, all the big players, they have plenty of silver. But what they certainly do have are premiums on top of that stuff. Now, there was a bunch of other information which I found out through various different content creators that was really enlightening, that a lot of these big online dealers will have wholesale prices bought from various different mints around the world, and then the premiums go on top of that. And that's simply supply and demand. Now, is it good that we have such supply and demand to create this sort of micro market where basically the end user is the one that gets lumped with the highest premium price for their metals? No, I don't like that idea. I don't like having to pay a lot more for particular types of silver or gold, but it's kind of the market economy. It's what the world does best, certainly in the sort of capitalist market economy states. So it's not. I don't begrudge companies from making money, but at the end of the day, it is taking advantage of the kind of silver squeeze movement, silver shortage movement, the premium, the pandemic, everything out there. It is difficult, and we as end users really do struggle with that. So finding good deals is absolutely important and integral. And it is. They're hard to come by. I'm going to be honest. They are very hard to come by when it comes to silver. And we've also got some other news to share as well, which is going to be affecting silver, certainly in the European Union and the UK, and that is that the Estonian VAT-free silver status will be changing in 2022. So a lot of people out there who've used places like the European Mint before are long-term partners for all those massive, ridiculous unboxings we used to do and the group orders. We stopped kind of working with them simply because of Brexit, because unfortunately there wasn't any way to get these giant packages through without huge amounts of VAT. So what was the point? We'd still get hit with the VAT. But now even European customers won't be able to get the VAT-free silver from Estonia because that loophole, that status exemption is closing for them. So there are going to be some shifts and changes on silver over the next coming years, I think. But where I see silver premiums at the moment is simply because there's a market for it. There are people out there who are able and willing and wanting to spend the money that they've got on silver, sometimes at higher prices than would be sensible for kind of bullion grade stuff, for just the generic bars or rounds. And I just, I feel for those people who are being taken in by the idea that silver will perhaps go super parabolically high at some point. And that subject I've done to death a number of times. It's not likely, and it's not something I subscribe to. Now, in terms of the relative premium to gold, that brings me neatly down to the fact that really gold has pretty much been unaffected over this last kind of 18 months or so. In fact, at the moment right now, we're about £100 up from where gold prices were at the start of the pandemic. Gold rose to, as I said, about $1,900 an ounce, a little bit higher perhaps, and then fell back down. And it's kind of been going up and down in between. But the premiums have stayed very low, and it is very easy and possible to buy brand new gold, whether it be in the form of Britannias or nice sort of buffaloes and things like that, at pretty low premiums. And relative to the silver side of things, it just makes much more sense for me to be having gold in the stack right now. Silver, yes, to a certain degree, there are things that I want to have in my collection, but in terms of the bulk majority of stacking weight, it has to go for gold because of that lower premium, that liquidity. It's really very easy to buy these brand new gold coins in the UK at exact same prices and premiums that they were when it was pre-Brexit, or pre-Brexit, pre-pandemic. So it really is not difficult. And of course, with Black Friday comes along these great deals. Now, I've just received this from Bullion by post. They're not sponsoring today's video. They are just a dealer that I bought from via eBay of all places, because there was this promotional offer through eBay to earn essentially £75 cashback on this particular coin. Now, it's not the best condition. It does look like it's been sort of touched with bare hands. That looks like a fingerprint to me. Certainly on the Queen's head side, it looks like there's a fingerprint on there. So yeah, big fingerprint. You can see that there. Not the best quality, but at the end of the day, it's just a bullion sovereign that I bought, which ended up being approximately 8% under spot price. In fact, it's got a fingerprint on it. I'm just going to hold the bloody thing. So it ended up being 8% under spot price, which is a pretty damn good deal for any piece of gold right now. So there is gold deals to be had, and gold that is cheap to be bought. It's certainly a much more attractive option right now for me to look to put my money in, but it's each to their own. I think silver has still got potential going forward for sure, but for me it is all about having this gold in that stack for that long term. It's better for me, it's better in my opinion than silver. So that's where we are with this 2021 rundown to the rest of the end of the year. A lot of people have been speculating about where silver and gold will go. We're starting to see, of course, more concern grow in the world about new variants and the impact that that's going to have on different supply chains and countries and economies around the world as they start to bring in tighter measures or travel restrictions. So I think the premium on silver is here to stay, unfortunately. I would be surprised if not, and I'd be surprised if various different institutions and dealers out there in the world would not keep their premiums high as long as they possibly can. And I really can't see those premiums coming down when they're making money hand over fist on a lot of this stuff when they're getting it in from mints. A lot of the supply that they'll have directly from mints will be at fixed prices for wholesales. So it really is sometimes a bit opportunistic money grabbing from a lot of the big dealers out there. But again, we're in a market economy, so can I begrudge them that? Probably not. Probably, but probably not. So let me know your thoughts. It's certainly been an interesting year. There's still quite a lot of it left. I know it's only kind of December, but a lot can happen in a month. And a lot can happen in a month where we're starting to see a little bit more rising concern about different coronavirus variants out there. So stay safe, stay healthy. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and we'll see you next time. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.